youngmomsclub.com, where young moms go to empower themselves and design their perfect lives. And today we are broadcasting live here on Google Hangouts. I'm super excited to have a really, really good personal friend here with me. Her name is Regina Bailey, and she is the mind behind the Someone Cares campaign. I've spoken about this in previous videos throughout different social media channels because I love what she does. I've worked with her in some of her live events, and she's just so good at what she does. She focuses mostly on self-esteem, and I know that a lot of young moms, moms in general, but especially young moms, struggle with self-esteem. So I wanted to invite her on here to talk to you guys about that. So I will let her do her formal introduction. Regina, go ahead and let us know a little bit more about yourself.
Well, thank you for that lovely introduction. I'm always fascinated at how people introduce me because it's another perspective outside of how I view myself and what I do. So thank you for that.
Of course.
So again, Danielle said I am the CEO and director of the Someone Cares campaign, and I started this campaign because I was seeing a fast-growing trend of adults abandoning teens and young people and not really caring what they, saw in the world for their future, their hope, and particularly during the recession, there were a lot of teenagers and young people committing suicide, and that bothered me on a very deep and empathic level to the point where I knew I had to do something about it. So I started the Someone Cares campaign to reach out and tell kids and teens and young moms that someone cares right now about you. You don't have to wait for it to get better.
I love that. Yeah, someone cares right now. That's great. So, I feel like I've learned so much about self-esteem. Like, I think I have a healthy self-esteem, but even in attending your live events where I went to help, I learned so much. I'd be like following along, not really there to learn, but, following along in the workbooks. And then when we're going through like body types, I'm like, oh, I never knew that, and raising my hand to participate. So I would love to. I don't want to give all the good stuff away, but I'd love for you to kind of go through some of the stuff that you've taught me, and that I know you can bring to the table, and just some ways that moms can. Some kind of actionable steps that moms can take to help improve their self-esteem or feel better about themselves.
Well, I think it goes without saying that there is a problem in America on how women view their bodies. And today I actually heard this really cute Scottish boy say, you come into the world with a blank slate. So every scar, every pimple, every mark, every stretch mark you have proves that you've lived a rocking life. It's proof that you didn't go out the same way that you came. So keep doing it. Whatever you're doing, you're effing beautiful and you're amazing. And I was like, oh my God, this kid is like speaking my language. I have to, keep going with this. But so there's a problem in how we view our own bodies, and particularly after we become mothers. I was a young mom. I got pregnant at 17 and had my son on my 18th birthday. So that was something that I was a little unprepared for. And all around me, and I'm sure you young moms have heard this yourself, all I heard was, oh my God, my baby's having a baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's not exactly how you prepare a young lady to be a mother. That's how you prepare her to have a horrible image of who she is and why she's having this child. It's already enough that you go into being a young mother with the questions like, am I going to do it right? Should I have an abortion? Should I give the baby up for adoption? What should I do? Am I going to, mess this kid up? So to have people not setting you up for success really is an issue. So
absolutely.
So the question is, how do you have self-esteem as a young mom? Well, that's a really good question. One, stop listening to the people around you. And that's easier said than done when you are 17, 18, 19. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, because the people around you consider mentors, and people that love you consider mentors. and you want to learn from them because they say it takes a village to raise a child. It really does. But if those people are negative and causing you to doubt yourself, you have to trust your instinct and stop listening to them. That's step one.
You know, one thing though, like I've always said, or I kind of noticed, is that it's not even just listening to people, because even sometimes people will say like that they're on your side, or, you know, they'll tell you like you're doing a good job. But even people that care about you, it's like the little mannerisms and like the little way they say it that you get the feeling that they don't really mean it, or the little innuendos, you know. And so you can't listen to them, and you can't like take that in either, you know.
So what you're saying is stop believing them.
Right. Yeah.
Stop believing the lie.
Together. Yeah. All of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we tell ourselves actually more lies than people could ever tell us to our face. We wake up in the morning and immediately begin the vicious lie cycle. And unless you're conscious of it, that cycle will never stop. And like I just blogged the other day, break the tape. Snap the tape in half, make it conscious, and snap it in half, because that's the only way you're going to overcome those negative messages.
Right. The things we say to ourselves, you know, and me included all the time, you have to be, I think you and I we do a lot of personal development, so we're really good at noticing these patterns, but everyone does it. If we were to say those things to people, we would get punched in the face.
We really would.
You know? Yeah, it's crazy the things that we say to ourselves, and it's not acceptable.
It's not.
And it's not true either.
No, it's not true, you know, and sometimes, you know, my daughter is 13 and she'll, you know, look in the mirror and see her pimples and she'll say, Mom, they're hideous, you know, what do you see? And I will say something like, I see a beautiful, intelligent young lady who has her whole life ahead of her and should see nothing but beauty, you know, and she'll be like, oh, Mom. But then, you know, about a month ago, I was staring in the mirror and I was, you know, my face was broke out and I was like, gosh, Lizzie, look at all these pimples. And she said, all I see is the creator of the Someone Cares campaign that has her whole life ahead of her.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, imagine that, you know, that was the messages we were actually giving ourselves and each other. It would be a much better tape to play than the one we're playing that bullies ourselves, you know.
Absolutely. We're our biggest bully for sure. Absolutely.
So you asked me to share a little bit about what I share in my program about body image and you know, and so basically when I bring the girls into one of my events, I have self-esteem micro events, and I teach them first about body image, because a lot of people don't know, even though the information is readily available, a lot of people don't know what their body shape, what their body type is. And those are two very different things. Like your shape could be apple, pear, triangle, square, while your body type is either mesomorph, endomorph, or ectomorph. And you know, they don't make pants for mesomorphs. They don't make pants for ectomorphs. They only make them, you know, for the skinny. And so when you're picking out pants, or, you know, you're picking out tops, it can feel like you're supposed to be a certain size, a certain shape, because the manufacturers of the clothes find it cheaper to manufacture them all in one particular style, not adjusting to a shape. So,
right. Could you imagine, like, if they, like, you could go, like, oh, triangle mesomorph.
Right.
You know, like,
yeah,
if your pants fit.
Pants in apple ectomorph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
You know, that would be ideal. You know, it's like the Kellogg's commercial that, you know, the girls get to buy their pants in size beautiful or size, you know, amazing. But you know, so a lot of young girls start to believe that, oh, I'm not a size 2, so therefore I'm inferior. When you can look up on YouTube, you know, 100 Years of Fashion, that's a really insightful video to watch and see how women's shapes have been defined by pop culture since the dawn of time.
And not the other way around. It's not that people choose what's popular. It's that media chooses what people like.
Right. Right. And so by allowing pop culture to define who we are, we're basically saying that we're okay with that.
Right.
So, yeah. I mean, aside from making your own clothes, what is the solution?
Right. Just accepting it and not allowing it, like accepting that that's how the world is, and not allowing it to like personally affect you.
Right. Right.
For sure. I love that you teach that. That was really eye-opening. And just to see all the girls standing up and kind of like owning their own body shape and feeling good in their skin, that was really awesome.
It's a really empowering moment when you stand in front of your peers and everybody raises their hand to say, hey, your shape is apple or hourglass, and I think you're an endomorph. And the girl looks at them at first and is kind of like, oh, why are you telling me what my body is? But then just like, wait a second. That's actually kind of empowering that I don't have to be like her or her. I am me. And I know that that makes a difference in how they perceive themselves by the end of the session. And so anybody who's listening, I would encourage you to look up body shape and body style. I think I'm saying those wrong now. But because you are exactly what you were built to be through genetics. You're not going to change no matter how much you work out, no matter how much you try to be that perfected model that you see in a magazine. That's not who you were designed to be, and your body is supposed to be who you are.
Right.
So being happy with that is just a waste of your time, because you have one body and one life. And so to spend your entire life worrying about, why you don't look like the girl on Vogue, it's silly.
Yeah. What about, moms who, and this is something that, it goes hand in hand with it, but moms who now they had a baby and now they have a ton of weight to lose, they have a ton of stretch marks, all the things that, come after pregnancy that, we could sit there and tell them, like, love yourself, just be comfortable, yada, yada, yada. All the things that are cliche and, that they know too. Is there any extra things that moms should know that don't apply specifically to maybe like the teen girls? It's a little bit different that you can think of.
Right offhand, I would say if you are worried about what your body looks like right after you have a baby, you're worried about the wrong thing.
Right.
Because you should be worried about your baby.
Right.
And how to love that child with all of your heart and all of your soul. And I guarantee when you do that, you love yourself. There was a book written about 2005 that said, the best way to lose weight is to love yourself, and that the pounds will melt off. And at first, I found it kind of silly, but then I said, this is when my self-esteem actually started, was when I read this book, and it was actually probably closer to 2002. But I started reading this book, and I was like, wait a second, there's actually power in that. If I wasn't obsessed and looking in the mirror every moment, if I was just loving my daughter and loving the fact that I brought this being into the world and that this being is perfect, so how could I be this ugly troll if this baby is beautiful? It's
right.
just percent of me. So I think young moms are actually more empowered to be less negative in their self-talk because they have this beautiful being in front of them.
Yeah. And everything, there's things you can just, some moms bounce right back and people are like, how'd you do it? That's incredible. Yeah. Some of it's genetics, some of, there's a lot of different factors that go into it. But, if it doesn't happen for you, or even if it's years go by and, you're left with stretch mark scars, whatever, that's just like, battle scars. That's just like the cost of bringing a child into this world. That's something like if you had to go back in time and it was just like, yes, you can have a child and you can, have this gift for the rest of your life, but here's the cost of it. Like, you would be like, for sure, that's like an easy decision, but then when it's there afterwards and you didn't make that decision beforehand, everyone's like really upset about it. So, yeah. And it's just like, yeah, I think just knowing that you brought your baby into the world and you have that amazing gift is just so important.
Well, yeah, because immediately if you're shaming yourself, you're shaming your child. And
Right.
One of the
Or like you're not worth it almost.
right, and one of the biggest things I talk about is like mother like daughter, and same thing like mother like son. Whatever you're saying to yourself in the mirror, believe me, they are watching, they are listening, and they are mimicking when you're not looking, and maybe even sometimes when you are looking. But I mean, I wish I could, lift up my shirt and show you all my stretch marks. And along with that, being a teen in trouble, and I can show you each one where I cut myself, my scars. And I can tell you, I'm not ashamed of it.
Right.
Those are my tiger stripes. Those are my battle wounds. And like that kid from Scotland said, it shows that I am not going out of this life like I came in.
Right.
I lived.
Hell yeah, you did. So did I.
I haven't stopped yet.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. Is there anything you can think of? I'm just trying to think really quick. I didn't actually poll for questions, which I should have, pertaining to this topic. But I get things around this all the time, especially in the Facebook group about like just feeling confident, loving yourself, and it just kind of goes hand in hand with what you already kind of covered. But I'm just trying to think, is there anything else you can think of before we kind of end this session?
Well, there is a specific recipe that I developed, and without giving too much of it away, I can tell you that one of the best ways to build your self-esteem is to build your self-confidence. And by doing things that you're really, really good at, that will build your self-confidence, thereby building your self-esteem. So if mothering that baby is the best thing that you can do right now, do it really, really good and brag a whole lot about it, because that's going to build your self-esteem better than anything else you could possibly do.
What is the difference? I don't even know this. What is the difference between self-esteem and confidence?
Well, self-confidence is your confidence in things that you have an ability to do. So it's things that you can do. That's confidence.
Okay.
Self-esteem is how you feel about those things that you can do. So self-esteem is feelings. Confidence is more like, I can do this. This is something I can do. I can swim well. I can, I can change this diaper in 2.2 seconds while I shift gears and put a binky in the baby's mouth. Whatever you do it really awesome.
Self-esteem is more of like a general aspect of oneself, and your confidence is more of like individual qualities.
Yeah, actionable steps that you can take. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. I like that. That makes a lot of sense. Very cool. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up this call. Thank you so much for coming on. Very amazing. I know you're going to give a lot of value to our viewers. Where can people find you at?
Well, they can find me in a number of places. My website is www.dreamthis.org. And I have a blog, someonecarescampaign.com. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn. So all of those are available via my website. You can click those, and you can sign up for weekly emails that, I talk about a different issue every week, just like Danielle does, only mine are more focused on, parenting and, self-esteem issues. So.
Very cool. All right. Thank you so much. And as usual, if you are not familiar with Young Moms Club yet, and if you're not part of the club, then we'd love to have you join. So head over to youngmomsclub.com. You can get the free gift, the 7 steps to being a kick-ass young mom, that I wrote with a free workbook at the end. And we also have a private Facebook group that we're chatting in. So you can sign up for that over there as well. So thank you so much. Again, Regina, thank you so much for coming on and offering us your time. And I'm sure leave comments below this video for Regina. I'm sure she'd be more than happy to, talk more about this topic below, as will I. And thank you everybody for watching. Have a wonderful night. Regina, again, thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.